Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tell Me Why, a short, sharp podcast for busy Beatles people on the go who want to be in the know. I'm your host, Jude Sutherland Kessler. I am the author of the John Lennon series and the latest book in the John Lennon series, Some Forever, which is the second half of Shades of Life. If you put these two together, they comprise the year of 1965 in the lives of John and the Beatles. This book came out 1 year ago next week. And I am so appreciative to tell you guys that we have 12 copies left. So if you want a physical copy, order it because that's it. That's all we've gotten. I'm not printing anymore, as you know. But it is available on ebook. And I'm sure someday, if I can coerce him, the very talented Scott R. McKinley will do an audiobook. Right now, he's working on volume 4. So it is, but you can still read it on ebook, which may be the easiest way to read it, because when a footnote comes up, you tap the footnote, all the information comes up, you read it, you tap it, and it disappears. So thank you. Thank you, one and all. Now, we're going to do a guessing game to start. I want to give you some clues about our guest today, and let's see how fast you can be screaming that person's name. First of all, he has a master's degree in communication. Don't have it yet? Well, because of that, he was asked to teach a course called The Beatles in Retrospect, celebrating the 20th year anniversary of the Beatles coming to America. So you figure out what year that was, 1984, right? Exactly. For a long time, and this is where you're going to get it, I'm sure, he ran a very, very successful Facebook page called The Beatles in Print, Together and Solo. I know you know who it is now. But then he moved to a larger, more accessible platform, and we're going to talk about that platform tonight, the BeatlesBookstore.com, where several times a week he puts out his Buzz's blog, and that gave it away. We are so happy to have with us my friend Buzz, John Bezzini. Hey, John, welcome to Tell Me Why.
How you doing, Jude? It's a distinct pleasure to finally be able to speak with you face to face, and I'm looking forward to this half hour of speaking with you.
Well, I am thrilled to have you on. I have been bugging you for, come on, John, be on my podcast, be on my podcast. I'm so honored that you are here. And we have so much to talk about. Let's forget about the Facebook page and go to that extremely popular platform with Dave Bedford, our mutual brother, Dave Bedford, who did Liddy Pool and the Beatles What If and the Country of Liverpool and the Fab 104. I mean, he is the bomb, as they say. You are pairing with him on the Beatles bookstore, and you have a regular feature, your Buzz's blog. Tell us about how that all got started.
Well, when I left Facebook, I was kind of depressed because I enjoyed running the Facebook page. And David Bedford is not only a knowledgeable and kind person. He saw the distress I was undergoing as a result of leaving Facebook. And he offered me a place on his blog to have a distinct part of the blog as my own, to not only show items from my collection, but to show Beatles print material, old and new books, old and new magazines, anything in print related to the Beatles, which happens to be my particular collecting fetish. So
Yeah.
that's that's where we are.
What year did you start doing that with him? How long have you been doing the blog on the
That
Beatles?
was in April of 2022.
Wow, that's been a while.
Yes.
That is great, and I know you're enjoying it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it
I
is.
love it because
It
I,
is.
even though I love Facebook, it it also has many trolls and people that just spend their entire lives with the intention of degrading others in order to elevate their own self-esteem and egos. And I don't deal with that well at all.
No, no, I don't either. And more and more, I find myself tempted to write a response, and then I think, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. Just just
You're playing their game by doing that.
yes, yes, and it's very hard though. And but that's not the case. Your Beatles bookstore blog is so excellent, and you are kind enough to send it to people in their email. I mean, we get articles from you all the time, and we're very, very, very fortunate. First of all, tell people how they can sign up for the blog and the tremendous price that they'll have to pay to get the blog and
Well,
what you offer them.
well, first of all, it's absolutely free. Uh, and it all you need to do, what I encourage people to do is sometimes people simply stumble upon the blog, but the best way to be guaranteed to receive notifications that new posts have appeared on the blog is to click on the link that I believe you will have posted somewhere on this program.
Yes,
And when the link opens up, they go to the right-hand side of the page, scroll down very slowly until they see the notification, subscribe to our newsletter. You only have to fill in three things: your first name, your email address, which is not shared with anyone, and then click subscribe, and you're a member.
that's
And
it.
then you receive, essentially, we try to average 3 posts per week, which
Wow.
sometimes can be very difficult, but with the amount of Beatles books that are still coming out, it's not so difficult in reality. So,
I mean, and you know, you not only cover the things that are in print, but you also have an amazing music collection, and you tell us about events that are upcoming and walk us through like a typical month. What in a month, what kinds of things would you post?
well, my main concern is my particular fascination is for rare books that maybe were independently published by relatively unknown authors. And you see, my ambition is to always seek out new information that we didn't know before about the Beatles. And often it resides in those books. In fact, one of the items I'm going to be showing you tonight is a book by a man named John Croft, who happened to be uh, uh, meet with George Harrison because they were both ukulele uh, aficionados. And the story in this book is absolutely fascinating. And if you don't have it in your collection, I'm sure you're going to want to get it.
And
So that's just one example. Uh,
okay, so Beatles books. What else might a blog be about?
Beatles magazines uh, showing the autographs of people that had some major impact in the Beatles story or lives. Someday I want to show you a document I have that was signed by all the people that were on stage at the Woolton Village Fete with the exception of John. John never, of course, lived to be able to sign it. But everybody else is there, including the person that took that very famous photograph, Jeff Ryan, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But, those kinds of things fascinate me.
Yeah, and you have an amazing collection. I do not always get to write and tell you how much I appreciate what you do and the things that you post, but I do. And I know everyone. I mean, I said to Scott McKinley one time, are you signed up for John Bezzini's blog? He goes, well, of course. Like, yeah, yeah. And, Jim Birkenstadt, Ken Womack, everybody reads your blog and it's free. Guys, that's something you don't ever hear today. It's free. All you have to do is follow those simple instructions. Go to the blog page, scroll down very slowly. It'll be on the right. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Fill
Until you
out
see
the,
subscribe to our newsletter. That's the part where you enter your information. You enter that quickly, click subscribe, and there, remember.
yep. How simple is that? And how wonderful to get all of this information. I keep a running list of sheet of paper that I keep a list of all of the books that John tells us about that are coming out in the next few months. And I've got a list, a wish list of the things I want to get as soon as they're released. So, it's really, especially if you're doing research on the Beatles, you love the Beatles, you will be blessed by this blog. It will keep you informed and really explore things. Now, John has, besides knowing so much about the Beatles in print, he has the largest collection of Beatles memorabilia I have ever seen in my life. And I have some stuff. I mean, this is just one wall. I've got four walls of stuff around me, but it doesn't hold a candle to what he has. So he's been very gracious to agree to do sort of a lightning round tonight and show us some of the pieces in his collection. So, John, fire away.
Okay. This is not in chronologic order. Just want to let everybody know. But this is, and I'm going to try to center this and we'll get rid of the glare here by tilting this. This is a rare
Well, just a
picture.
little bit.
Up a
Up.
little bit. All right.
Yeah, there,
Is
perfect.
that clear?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. That is by John Lennon's father. And many people have heard the song, That's My Life, That's My Love, That's My Home. But this is the rare Dutch language version of the song. This is extremely hard to find. Someone posted the audio on YouTube. So if you want to listen to it, you can go there and listen to it. But there's some unbelievable associated stories with that particular song as it involves both Sean Lennon and Julian Lennon. And if we get the time tonight, I'll share those stories with you. Little is known that Freddie actually did a television program lip syncing that Dutch version of the song, but apparently that video is lost.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate because I'm certain would be many Beatle fans that would love to have seen that.
I
So,
notice they call it on that version, instead of saying that's my life, the Dutch version has that's my life or
cor-
live.
correct, correct, correct. And I also have this is the actual press release issued by Pi Records for the release of the Freddie Lennon single.
Wow.
All right. This I think you'll find interesting. This is a picture
Good.
of the gentleman that happened to be the lorry driver that carried the quarrymen to the Woolton Village fete in July of 1957.
Wow.
And here is a personal letter from Doug Chadwick, who is the driver. Can that be read or?
Yes. Oh, yes, that's great. Oh, my goodness. There it is. Now, I'm sure that you have shared all of this with Mark Lewis, and
No, because Mark, I think he's a subscriber to the blog.
so he gets to
So
read
yeah,
it.
and I do communicate with him by email. So, but it goes to show you one thing. First of all, thank you for your superb Lennon narrative. I have all the books, and it is extremely difficult to write a narrative of this type. And I extend extreme kudos to you for your great work. And I wish you the best. We all know the ending
Yeah,
the, to this story,
yeah.
and you have made it. Knowing the ending, it's a pleasure still to read this story. And keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I
So,
appreciate that. It's we are in 1966 right now, and things are starting to get a little, we've been going up, 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 up in the happiness factor. And now we're at 66, and you know what's going to happen in 66.
exactly.
So, it's going to be a rougher book to write.
Okay. This
Ooh.
is the rare cover to the Asian version of Life from July of 1967. It was only released in Asia with that cover. And you would think that with the release of Sergeant Pepper, that would have been on either a UK Life cover or a US Life cover, and it wasn't. So you would not believe the prices if you check like on eBay of what that has been going for. It's unbelievable. Now
Wow.
we go to a book which John Lennon said was one of the Beatles' best biographies. What's interesting about this particular copy, and this is why I went for it, it's autographed by the author, Michael
Ooh.
Braun. And you notice who he says to you,
Yeah.
yes, well, you, he's referring to you, Mendel. You, Mendel, happened to be a Decca executive who had recommended to Decca to sign the Beatles. Unfortunately, Mike Smith and Dick Rao declined to sign them. And we all know sometimes what bad decisions can lead to. So that's the
Guitar
story
room's
behind
rocking on the way out.
that. This book is the book I had mentioned to you before, and by John Croft. And superb. Like, for example, not many people are aware that George Harrison in 1991 played a George Formby, played at a George Formby convention. And actually heard a recording from George's performance at that show. And this gentleman, John Croft, helped organize that appearance. And
Wow.
this book is fascinating, fascinating, highly
Now,
recommended.
how can people get that book if they wanted to? Is it
You'll
available at
have
all?
to you'll have to check on my blog
Okay.
because I have a special post regarding this book, and it tells you where to go to seek out the book. That's one of the services that we offer. I do not sell the books. I
Right.
provide the source where people can find the books. So,
Question.
sure.
Question. If say that was a post from 2 months ago, how would I find it when I go to the BeatlesBookstore.com?
Okay. At the bottom of the page, there's an index that you can go back to all the older pages. There are hundreds of blog posts that,
Okay.
and everything is kept there. So you can look back to I think the very first post I did, um, oh, well, I've forgotten already what the first post that I did, but um, not only there's a search engine in the upper right where you can type in the name of the person that's affiliated with their interest and you can find it. And if you don't find it that way, you use the page index at the bottom where you flip through the pages. That's a bit tedious because sometimes you have to go through numerous pages. But we
If
do.
I just if I
I'm
type
sorry.
in book by John Croft, would that get it? If I type
I
in,
would I would think you're more likely to find it in the search grid by just typing in John Croft
okay, okay,
or comma uke for a substitute for ukulele.
yeah,
So, but you play around with it until it comes up.
yeah,
And if push comes to shove, you can if you go on the blog, you can make a comment, and I will see that comment, and I can reply to any inquiries made.
that is service with a smile. That is really kind of you to do that for people.
Well, I love doing it because I like to teach and inform, and I like to share with people the information that I have been fortunate in my own life to be able to acquire. So we're getting there. This is, of course, from John's personal assistant in late 60s, early 70s, Anthony Fawcett. Very few copies of uh, signed editions of this book are available, and so I couldn't miss out on getting this for my collection when I saw one being available. What's interesting about this book is that he is the first person to mention the famous tape that John made in September of 1969 after the Beatles had released Abbey Road,
Wow,
discussing the possibility of future releases after Abbey Road. Although soon he was also to announce to the other Beatles that he was divorcing from them. But that was later reported by Mark Lewison. But in this book, it details the contents of that tape
wow,
towards the end of the book.
wow.
So
That-
I think you'll find this book particularly fascinating. This it was put together by Barry Miles, who of course was involved at the Indica Gallery and was into the avant-garde and the International Times in the UK. But this book was essentially dropped or ceased to publish soon after being released. And
huh,
these are one of those books that I particularly treasure because of administrative problems. It ceased publication. I think it had to do with copyrights of people's photos. And what it is a collection of fan photos taken of the Beatles over the years,
wow,
including one of John handing a fan a award that he had been given, who went to his house in Weybridge, and she was handed the award by him.
wow.
And that picture is in here. So,
The name of that book, for those of you listening on Beatlesarama Radio and you can't see the book, is The People's Beatles, 1963, 1969. So you'll be able to go to the blog and see the cover and everything. Very cool. I've never even heard of that one. That's amazing.
and this is a sketch from Stu Sutcliffe's notebook.
Oh my gosh.
And there's one on the other side too. So I
Oh,
had it framed specially uh, for that.
wow.
Um, I can't see where we're lining up here. All right. All right.
Wow.
And I also have a poem written by Stu Sutcliffe, which was written in the year of my birth, 1955, called Lament of Spring, and he signs the poem. And I want to thank Logan in Texas for allowing me to purchase that from him. And but these are so many stories, and I hope to publish eventually a book, but I can't get into too much detail until more and greater details develop.
So
So,
these are the kinds of things that you would do a blog post about. You'd show a photo, you'd give the story, and people would know all about the People's Beatles or the Stu Sutcliffe sketches.
and one quick more addendum about that is even though I bought this, the sketch from Stu, I was kind of angry. I was angry because the person that sold it had taken one of his original notebooks that this was from, and in order to maximize profit, broke it up into individual pages. And to me, that is a disgrace. I wish they then had donated it to a museum, and that would have been a better application of that. But I wasn't going to turn down. I actually found that at a fest for Beatles fans when it was known as Beatle Fest, and it was a very reasonable price, and I quickly jumped on it. And
It what didn't happen to be 100 and something dollars, did it?
it was $100 exactly.
Okay, because when I went in 1993, I went to the Kansas City. I think they called it Beetle Fest too, but it was small. It was small. Richard Farrar was the person that ran it in Kansas City. And there was a person there with a sketch very similar to that. And I didn't get it because I couldn't vet it and I didn't know if it was the real deal. But dadgummit, I think it was that sketch.
Trust me, they are real.
Isn't
They
that
are real.
is so amazing? That is so amazing. Bad
And
Mommy, bad Jude.
there's one other item that I would like to show you, which is like my pride and joy, which was given to me as a special present when I turned 18 by my parents. They got it at Sotheby's. And I'm going to see if we can show this. It's
Yeah, tilt it. There you go. There you go. There you go. Slide it a little bit
can
more
you
because
can
I
you
know you want
can
to show those signatures. They're all showing now. John Lennon, George Harrison, Paul McCartney, and I guess that says R. Starkey.
that is correct. That is correct. Because it was a NIMS transfer and considered a legal document, he of course put his real name in there. And it's also signed at the top by Queenie Epstein, Brian's mother, and Clive Epstein, Brian's brother.
Wow.
And that was signed excuse me, in December of 1967,
Wow.
which was, I think Brian died in August of 67. So it wasn't too far after Brian had expired.
And
So
what is that document?
it's a NEMS stock transfer.
Okay.
As to what that means in terms of, when you transfer stocks from maybe from one person to another or from one entity to another,
Right.
that's the only thing I can assume. So, but that's my pride and joy. And
Yeah.
they told me once how much they paid for it. They paid back then, this was considered a humongous price, $500.
Oh man. Well, if you think you know, if you take the year and what money was then, that's a very expensive item. I mean, and of course it is. You have all four signatures on there.
But I will not tell you what I have been offered from for that item. But let's put it this way. I would have made my parents proud by what was offered. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it. That is, your collection is unequaled, and your scope of knowledge for what, I don't know how you find these things out. What's going to be offered 6 months from now and a year from now? You know who's writing what and where they are in the writing process and where they are in the publishing process. In fact, I just asked you a couple of days ago, when is Thelma Pickles' book coming out? And you know. So you,
Networking.
yeah,
It's networking. Networking. Get to know a lot of people. They know your interest, and sometimes you don't even have to seek out the information. It comes to you. But I
wow.
have a few little techniques that I use that keeps me up to date about things. And
I'm such a hermit.
I'll give you one simple one.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a simple one. You go to Amazon, okay? You go to books. You type in Beatles. It then creates a list for you of Beatles books.
Ooh,
Then you sort by date of publication. And what it does then, it gives you the most recent or the most recent scheduled Beatles books that are coming out. And you can keep on going until, until you fall asleep. But, but by doing that, many of these publishers can publish the forthcoming book over a year in advance. And some authors, the book is noted as being published at a certain time, and it remains there for a year.
right.
And they reschedule it for a number of reasons. Maybe they had copyright problems. Maybe they need to do more editing, et cetera, et cetera.
Maybe their printer sent them a horrible book and they had to find another printer. Does that sound familiar?
Exactly.
So yes, I completely understand. I completely understand. Well, I tell you what, we need to do this more often because I bet you could pick up another 8 items that are just as interesting as the ones you just showed us. So, will you come back and do this again another time and let's share some more items?
I certainly will, Jude, and I thank you for the opportunity for this. This really helps because you and Rand and Scott, you're great people. You helped me a lot at the Fest for Beatle fans. You distributed and made flyers for me to bring about the notification of the blog, and I will be eternally grateful for your kindness.
Well, I tell you what, it is never anything but a happy moment when you get to share the good work that someone is doing, and you do a great job with this. I know David Bedford is just over the moon that the two of you connected because you do a wonderful job. And the Beatles bookstore is something that all of you guys need to check out. It is a comprehensive bookstore that represents a lot of Beatles authors who sell via the bookstore. And when they make a sale, they do not take 1 penny. David Bedford does not take 1 penny cut on the sale of Beatles books. He's a fine man, isn't he, John?
He certainly is. There's no better in my book.
Yeah, that's the truth. That is the truth. Well, we close every Tell Me Why by asking what is your very favorite John Lennon quote. It can be a lyric, it can be something he said, it can be something from one of his books. Behind me, what?
Well, I hope my quote does not cause any controversy. But in typical John Lennon style, I'm going to choose something that might.
Oh,
And
good.
in 1974, when the US government was trying to deport John, he eventually was given his green card. And as he walked out of the immigration office, he made this quote: Time wounds, all heals. And I thought that was particularly apropos, especially as it relates to present times. And I think that in John's honor, because I know he would be quite upset about some of the goings on, that we should keep that quote on a block of ice. And pardon the bad pun, but
I like it. I like it. That is true. And I think that holds for all, whether you are conservative, liberal, or somewhere in between, that holds for everyone. Time wounds, all heals. Whether you think that means one person or another, whichever way the finger points, time wounds, all heals. So good for you, John. He always has the last word, doesn't he?
instant karma is going to get you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, John, it has been so much fun having you here, and thank you for sharing your collection, and thank you for sharing your expertise with us through your Buzz's blog on the BeatlesBookstore.com. And we'll have that up for you so that you can go to it, sign up, and get your free information 3 times a week, sometimes more than that, coming right to you. So sign up. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up, and you will be so informed and so entertained and so in awe of John's collection. Thank you so much for being with us.
Cheers.
And everybody on Beatles-orama Radio and on the Tell Me Why YouTube channel, we appreciate you. And until next time, ta and shine on.